If you have good music but struggle to create the content to get the visibility that your music deserves, this will be one of the biggest hacks for you going forward. Period. I've already talked about clipping campaigns and using Whop in a previous video, but in this video, I'm going to go into more detail to help you get the best outcome when it comes to this form of campaign. Hey, I'm Brandman Sean, and my music marketing agency is responsible for billions of streams. We've gotten platinum and diamond plaques, and we've helped indie artists go from zero to hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I make these videos to share what we've learned and do for free. See, the biggest problem that most artists have when it comes to content isn't just the fact that they can't make enough content on their own page, but once you make a lot of content on your own page, you're limited by the reach of your page itself. You need to figure out how to get to other platforms. How do you do it easily? How do you do it reliably? And how do you do it cheaply? That's what clipping campaigns are for. But as I get into the setup and the steps, let's start with the content first and foremost, because that's what this is all about. What type of content are you going to push when it comes to doing a clipping campaign on Whop? First and foremost, you got to understand there's about 3 primary styles of content. So if you missed my first video on clipping campaigns, you really need to go back. So I'll put that in the link in the description below. But just as a short reminder, a clipping campaign really rooted in the idea of having a long form piece of content when you see a lot of interviews out there. But then when you go to social media, you see a clip from that interview. Therefore, a clipping campaign. I took a clip from a piece of content and then pushed that piece of clip. That's one style of piece of content. You can have long form and push that. And then the secondary version, which is so powerful because a lot of artists don't have long form piece of content, is pushing a bank of pre-selected clips, meaning I create a bunch of clips and then I put them up for a clipping campaign, and then clippers take those clips and put them out on all their pages. But hold up, before I get to the third one, and this is one that's really going to be helpful and blow people's mind. If you're creating a bunch of clips instead of using some long form piece of content for the clippers to pick from, you probably should test those clips on your own page if you already have some visibility. You want to use some of the most high performing clips as possible because they are going to pick clips that are going to perform well because they want to perform well as well and make as much money as possible. So the better your content is and the more receptive people are, the higher the likelihood that the clippers are going to take that content in the first place and then also get a better performance when they post it on their own pages. So you pre-test it. You don't have to do that with all your content, but that's a really good place to start. But now we get to the third style of content, which is going to be extremely helpful to so many people. Guess what? You actually don't have to create content at all. You could just provide the song and allow the clippers, these are the people who are taking the clips or creating clips. So you can allow those clippers to take your song and put it behind videos that they created to bring visibility to your song. So think about watching a sports highlight clip and then hearing your music in the background. If that makes sense for who you are and your brand, perfect. But then there's all other types of genres, memes, styles of content that might match your brand, and using content from those spaces can actually help entertain target audiences while slipping your song in on the back end. For instance, for one of our clipping campaigns, baseball had a significant part in the theme. So it made a lot of sense when a few clippers found some really high performing videos, came up with some really cool ideas where they spliced some things together, and voila, we actually ended up with one video that we paid $50 for and had about 178,000 views. That's not every campaign, that's not every single post, but these types of things are possible. You've seen videos on social media that have music in the background and the song isn't super relevant to the video already. That's happening all the time. Well, how does that music get to the back of those videos? How can you do that for yourself, especially if you don't own a bunch of pages yourself? This is one of the easiest ways to accomplish that and one of the most affordable ways to make that happen as well. But we'll go deeper into that when we get to the pricing section of this video. The last thing I want to say is this type of campaign helps with omnipresence for your song. So let's just pretend that you are creating some type of content to your song for your page, the organic content, the content that includes you as an artist. But also think about the idea of maybe there might be some influencers, or maybe there might be some advertising happening, whatever that is. When you start to hear songs in the back of videos, that's when it starts to create that effect like, oh man, I'm hearing it everywhere. I saw that artist performing their song in that video, but then I saw this other video with an influencer dancing to it, and now I'm watching this random gaming video and it's in the background. The social proof is out of control at that point. Now let's talk about how you set it up and how much it costs. Once you have a Whop, then you're going to go to earn and then content rewards, and it's time to fill out all this information for your campaign. Now, it's pretty straightforward. The big thing that I want to talk about is the pricing. It defaults you to $3, which isn't the worst in the world, but let's look at the entire platform. So you got to remember that you're being compared to other people on the platform. This is also a marketplace. The clippers have to choose a campaign and they have a limited amount of time. I want to make the most amount of money, so I'm going to be picking a campaign based on who pays the most, but also what is the best chance of success based on the content that I'm going to be pushing, and then based on the brand or product that is included in that content in and of itself. For instance, I can get paid $3 for a no-name artist who has really good content. Okay, that's not the worst because he has really good content. There could probably be something there. But what if I could get paid only $1 for a well-known artist or some other celebrity, and it's amazing content too? All things equal, except for the brand name not being as big. Even though I'm not getting paid as much money, I might go for that celebrity because there might be a very high chance of it going viral and me making up for the $2 per 1,000 streams, per 1,000 views, with the fact that I got way more views. I might have got 100 times more views because it was such good content. That's the psyche of the clippers, the people who are going to be taking your content and pushing it out on platforms. So typically you want to stay somewhere between the $1 and $5 range, right? That's what you need to be thinking about per 1,000 views. Now, the other thing that you want to think about is the minimum and maximum payout. Because if you don't have an unlimited budget, if someone does knock it out the park for whatever reason, they end up with 10 million views on a video where you're paying $3 per 1,000 views, that's $10,000 right there off of one video by itself, which isn't the worst investment in the world for a video that did 10 million views, but it's probably not what you're trying to do. That's like $30,000, and you're probably not trying to pay that. So how do you work around that? Well, you say, hey, I'm going to give a maximum payout of $500. All right, or maybe I'm going to do a maximum payout of $1,000 per individual submission, by the way, because people can submit as many videos as they want. If they do well, sure. But you have your budget limitation. Let's just say it's $5,000 at this point. And then you're going to pay a rate of $3 per 1,000 views. That's kind of where I expect most people to hover if you're brand new, $3 to $5. But you can try $2 or $1. But the point is, once you run out of that budget, you don't want to be caught having to pay more because you left it on unlimited, or you sent out some shifty messaging to make people believe something like that. And you want to make sure you create a maximum payment. But keep in mind that maximum payment is a part of the incentives, because I know if I knock it out the park and maybe do a video of 10 million views, I would hate if you said my maximum payment is $50. Why am I even doing this if my maximum payment is only $50? So you want to have something that's really solid, $500, maybe $1,000. And if the video keeps moving after the payout, that's fine. You're not paying for that anymore. So they posted something for $3 per 1,000 views, and it ended up going to 500,000 views, but you paid them a max of $500 and you're good. And once you go through all that, you finish setting up your campaign, people will be able to see your group on the Explore tab, where there's a bunch of different campaigns for them to join. Now, once you launch a campaign, it is something to manage. You have to continue to pay the clippers. You do want to approve the messaging, which brings me to a quick question. In my last video, Willie Sees Green says, here's my thought. As a clipper, why wouldn't I just take that job, bought the views myself, and then take the paycheck? Meaning, hey, I just bought views and make it say 100,000 views. And then now you have to pay me because I got 100,000 views on a video, even though I didn't really. Well, here's how it goes. You have to approve every single one of the videos. So it doesn't make sense in most cases for a clipper to ruin their brand, ruin their reputation, and mess around and possibly even get like banned off the platform or something when I could just do good work and get better at doing good work. Because people do have to manually approve every single one of my videos. They submit their videos, you approve the video and say it's good to go. Keep in mind on your side, if you mess around and don't approve videos that are valid and you do something like that consistently, you get super picky and say, oh no, that's not what I meant or that's not what I like, but the clipper did do their job, especially based off of the expectations you created with your criteria, then you need to make sure you pay because you want to have a good standing on the platform, or clippers aren't going to want to do campaigns for you. There's an interrelationship that's ongoing when it comes to creating success. There's a little PR involved. There's multiple things in terms of making sure you keep this relationship fluid. Now, if you feel like you don't want to manage that relationship, the approvals and all of that process, then feel free to reach out to us and apply for us to run a clipping campaign for you. And if we approve you, we can run a clipping campaign for you. We have to check the quality of your product, your work, your music. And of course, you have to have some type of budget, but you can apply in the description below. Because I get it. Some labels and artists have said, this is a bit of a headache, or it's a little bit new for me. I don't want to build a career as a clipping platform, but I want to leverage clippers and clipping campaigns. Makes all the sense in the world. Check the description below. Just to go back for a second, you can see that there's a clipping group right here and look at the reviews on the group in and of itself. You can very easily develop a bad reputation if you aren't paying people out. So I'm less worried about artists and campaigns getting botted, but knowing how many of you are and how picky you think you can get working with y'all, don't ruin your reputation by trying to get somebody to repost for free. Stick to the payouts that you said and go from there. Now, let me close with a couple more recommendations. You can choose the different platforms that you allow to be a part of the criteria of your campaign. You can say, hey, yes, you can post on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. The favorite platform is TikTok when it comes to me because the potential is the highest. However, based on your campaign, based on your type of content and your style, it might be better for you to try other platforms. TikTok is a favorite though. I'll say that yet again. And whatever your criteria is, make sure it's clear. Again, the platforms, you can say, I want to be posted only to stuff in this particular niche. You can say that I only want you to use the clips that I've provided. A lot of times though, it'll make it easier on you for your campaign to get executed and your budget to be used up if you allow clippers the freedom of posting to whatever they want, especially if your content sucks. And hopefully your song doesn't, so they don't mind putting that into places. But if you do mess around and find a piece of content that does extremely well, you have some viral content that you create on your page, do be sure to get that distributed through a clipping campaign to get seen as many times as possible. Because I can tell you, on my own profiles that I've worked with artists, hey, I've gotten them to repost an older video. And by older, I mean sometimes only like a week old. And when they repost it, it does 10 times the results. Sometimes it does less. Sometimes it does more. But knowing that if a video does well on your page doesn't mean that everybody who wants to see it has seen it. Knowing that there's more views in the tank is a huge part of understanding that once you have something that works well, it can work even better if you distribute it through other pages. Clipping campaigns is just one of the easiest ways to do that, especially with the potential to have the highest impact for the lowest cost. And with all of that being said, don't forget that you should have some goals attached. Do you want just general awareness? Are you using a clipping campaign just to kind of create a sense of omnipresence, but you're driving hardcore results on other types of campaigns? Or do you want the clipping campaign to be the campaign that drives the streams or drives the follows to your page or whatever you're thinking to do? Whatever it is, be clear. There's so much value in using Whop for clipping campaigns. So definitely check it out and use it for yourself. Or again, if you're intimidated by it or you just want someone you can trust and knows exactly how to do it and understands the weeds. If we're available and we approve of the quality of the music, we don't mind running them for you. And other than that, see you next time where we have free strategies based on what we learn and do, or just check out this video popping up on the screen for more growth tips and music industry insight.